Okay, sing that song. Sing that song inside. Okay, there will be some amounts of venting. Just a little bit of venting every now and then. You know, we're part of the journey, we're full of hope. We share the greatest of our expectations, but you gotta reflect and learn from your mistakes. So you gotta talk about whatever the mistakes might have been, or the hurdles, the fiery hoops, or whatever. So here's an anecdote from the first warehouse job that I worked, and I worked there for about 7 years. I was good friends with my supervisor. His name was Roy, and we used to drink in the parking lot. Back in the 90s, that was a regular thing. You know, me and a group of guys, we used to drink in the parking lot. And I was also friends with this product specialist, and her name was Michelle. And I double dated with Michelle, you know, my girlfriend at the time, and Michelle and her husband. And we went bowling, and we were good friends too. But listen, in football, there's a disciplinarian coach, like a Bill Belichick, and there's a players coach, like a Bill Parcells, someone that the players just love, you know. Bill Belichick has had his complaints, you know, about, hey man, we won the Super Bowl, but it wasn't fun, man. So that, you know, it's just different styles of leadership. So over there at the warehouse, Roy was more of like a player's coach. You know, and we got along with each other. And we used to go out and drink, like I said. And one day, one of Roy's friends, while we were drinking in a parking lot after work, socked another guy in the face. So Roy got fired. This is just a short story of it, okay? But up until then, I was like Roy's number one guy. And I'm going to say something that doesn't make sense to you necessarily if you have never done warehouse work. But I was in charge of the truck dock under Roy, which was a two-man job. Okay? So, it was a two-man job, and Roy let me handpick the person I worked with. And that guy was Ruben. I knew the guy since high school. I got him the job there. We eventually had a falling out years later. But I got to handpick my guy. So basically it's me and the other person. So if there was ever any blame, you could blame me, man. I picked the person I was going to work with. Now when Roy got fired, because his friends hit someone in the jaw after work while drinking in a parking lot, we're not supposed to be in the parking lot drinking, let alone, you know, let fights start. Okay? When Roy got fired, the person that replaced him, his supervisor, was Michelle. And like I said, I got along with Michelle. But Michelle was one of those leaders, if you want to call it that I'm going to treat everyone the same, you know? If you're late, I'm going to treat you the same as if you're late. But Jimmy Johnson wasn't that way on the Cowboys. If Troy Aikman was late, or if he didn't attend a meeting, he would treat Troy Aikman different than a rookie. But not everyone's like that. Okay? Late is late is late is late is late. Right? So Michelle didn't let me pick my partner at the truck dock. Okay? And Ruben wasn't available. And the guy that she assigns with me didn't understand how the crap worked there, specifically the timing. Because, hey man, I'm not beyond having to do menial work like load trucks, which I've done many times. But I was responsible for getting UPS, next day air, and second day air out by 5 o'clock. And if I was tight on filling my orders, this other guy, I'm not going to say his name, but this other guy, he might have to work consecutively loading the truck. Usually you know, as fairness, we try to alternate. You load, I load, you load, I load, you load, I load. But this guy didn't understand, and he would throw fits, and he wouldn't show up. You know, I tell him, hey, you've got to do this. I have a 5 o'clock deadline. We have expensive products that have to get out of this building when the UPS truck shows up here, okay, at 5 o'clock. And I told Michelle, I need to pick my partner there. I need to pick my sidekick. And then you can judge me. Then you could judge me if I'm able to do that. Now, one of the reasons I'm here in this area is because I'm going to straight out say it, it's my dad. My dad's not this kind of guy like Roy was, where I told my dad in the mid 2000s, you know, right around 2005, I said, I can't operate here in the Inland Empire for, you know, different reasons. And instead of saying, oh yeah, well, we'll move you where you think you can work and where you can excel and thrive and integrate into this great society of ours. Instead of doing that, he'd mention some hypothetical. Hey, such and such is getting it done. Such and such does this. Well, I'm not that person. And they don't have the same circumstances as me. So I'm not trying to dump my bull crap on you guys. I'm really not. And this is why I write fiction, is because I don't mean to fucking put people on the hot seat. I don't mean to put them in the spotlight. But there are reasons things happen slower in my life than I wanted them to happen. And this is the tip of the iceberg, and I got years to explain this directly, explicitly, and just as well in the form of fiction, you know? When I write my fiction, they say write what you know. I believe in that as far as human interactions with one another. Now, write what you don't know. I had a video about that as well. So I write about Sasquatch and aliens, and I write about weird shit, you know, just to be fun. You know, just a bunch of hypotheticals. But the constant in life is our interactions with each other. And these things that never leave, you know, pessimism and greed and envy, prudence, and, you know, you get all these things that exist whether or not we have smartphones, whether or not we have self-driving cars, whether or not we're on a horseback. We have these human issues, and we're going to keep having them. So I got my iPad here. I mentioned in another video, right? Got my iPad. It's time for me to become a little more pragmatic for 2 or 3 weeks and make sure the roof is over my head. I've talked about Abraham Maslow before. You got to make sure your physiology, your safety, that all that's secure before, you know, you really go for the gusto and write that best-selling novel. I'm not saying I'm going to be doing that, but if you don't have a roof over your head, man, it gets a little harder. So I'm gonna check out right now. You guys be good. I'm gonna watch some football right now. All right. Take care, guys.